Come with me to a magical place where being labeled the Pork Queen is a compliment, where being nice is just a way of life, and where all leaders of the free world must pass through. Welcome to Iowa. Whether you're a current Iowan, an Iowa expat, or an Iowan at heart, this show is for you. This is the Iowa Podcast. Real Iowans, real talk, no drama. From the Brady Dental Care Studios, I am Justin Brady, and as we record this, it's nice and sunny outside in Iowa. It's absolutely beautiful weather, and it's probably a good time to talk about biking. And so to do that, I've invited Dan Koenig in the studio, owner of Ichi Bikes. Dan, thanks for coming on the Iowa Podcast. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Every week, everybody, we have a new amazing guest in here to talk about what you're missing in Iowa or stuff you need to know. Make sure to give the podcast 5 stars and subscribe on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, Google Podcasts. Did you know, by the way, no one pays for this? Yeah, it's free. So make sure to subscribe, give the show 5 stars. That's really the only currency we ask. So, Dan, thanks for coming in on the show. I think I've biked before. I think most people have biked before in some capacity, but especially in Iowa, there are trails everywhere. There's the picturesque, spirally square photo that we all see on the High Trestle Trail. And a lot of people, I think, are maybe just a little bit intimidated of biking. They want to get out there on the trails, but once you, as you know, probably more than most, there is a lot. There are, probably how many thousands of different variations of bikes. So today's goal with you, I'm hoping, is we can give people kind of a 30-minute intro into here's how to get to know all the Iowa bike trails. Here's what to know. I think we should start out with just the tech side, the hardware itself. There are so many variations. So do you start people somewhere?
Well, I guess, everybody comes into the shop with different knowledge and different backgrounds in their bicycling careers or lack thereof. And so what we try to do is to just try to get them comfortable on a bike, because it doesn't matter how much you spend on a bike or how pretty the bike is. If it's not comfortable and it doesn't work for you, then it's not a good fit, and it's not a one-size-fits-all type of deal. So, we just try to kind of meet people where they're at and try to figure out what their needs are.
Yeah, so there's carbon fiber, there are different tires, there's the super narrow tires,
steel,
there's the super thick tires.
Steel is real.
Steel, yeah, so what's, the general, I'm assuming once you get to be a professional and, you're going for that, knock that extra minute off your time.
So that's the kind of thing that people have been really, I've been educating people a lot about lately in the shop that are coming and, somebody who wants a performance bicycle that wants to sit down in that saddle and they want to crank out every single mile and get every drop of is it okay to cuss on this?
I guess I've never been asked that, but let's keep it safe.
PG.
Yeah, let's keep it PG. Yeah.
So,
good question though.
Well, so that wants to get every bit of bang for their buck in terms of performance bicycle. A carbon fiber skinny tire bike is gonna perform in a certain way, and it's kind of race cars, race motorcycles, race bicycles, all that different kind of stuff. When you get into the level of performance that is race mode, then you're going to sacrifice a lot of comfort for a lot of speed. So when you're riding a bicycle that's purpose is to make people go as fast as possible, then that's what you're going to get. When you get in a sports car, they beat you up.
That's true. That's a good point.
You go around the corner, and it's fast and it's amazing, but it's loud, it's obnoxious, it's not comfortable. it's the suspension isn't great in terms of comfort, and so a bicycle is kind of like that as well. You get a performance bike, you get performance speeds, you get all that kind of stuff, but you might not get the coziest, most comfortable ride.
Sure.
And so there's also a lot of what am I trying to say?
Well, generally what you're saying, though, is that it's no different than, I mean, obviously you have the fancy electronic suspension cars now, but generally speaking, it's like luxury cars kind of ride on the cloud. They're not performance. They have a little bit, the suspension's a little loose. But then, like you said, the fast performance cars, a little lower to the ground, less bounce, they're more tight.
Yep.
Generally, the same principle applies to bikes.
Well, it does, but there's another level to bicycles, because a bicycle is a human-powered thing. And so, a performance bicycle that's a fast or a race type of bike, everything is really forward control. Everything is really like, you're getting up out of that seat, your hands are on the handlebars, and the most difficult part of riding a bicycle is going up a hill compared to going straight and going down a hill. So what that style of a bike does is makes the hardest part of riding a bicycle the most comfortable part of riding a bicycle. And so when you're blasting hills and you're doing all that kind of stuff, the geometry and everything is built towards hills and trying to be able to climb rapidly and well, because the rest of it, you don't really struggle with going downhill.
That's a good point.
You don't struggle with going straight. So it's really designed around being very forward. So in reality, what that kind of comes down to is that when you're going on flat surfaces, you might not be as comfortable as going up a hill. You know what I mean? So it may make a lot of tensions in your shoulders and your neck and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, so there's more factors here, obviously. Right. Cars, you don't pick a car based on, can this go up a hill? Although my dad has a pickup truck, that is absolutely one of the factors. That thing does not really go up hills that well.
Oh man, that's a bummer.
So yeah.
So then there's other geometries towards a bike. So then as you become more comfortable going straight on a straight line on a bike path, you bring the rider back closer, away from the handlebars and towards the back seat a little bit. And so you're a little bit more upright and so much more comfortable riding in a straight line, riding forward. But then you're creating wind drag and you're creating all these other things that are going to be slowing you down and make it even more difficult to ride up a hill.
So when you see people that are like these lay back bikes, they are way back there. They're like reclining. Yeah. It's almost like lazy boy.
They're called recumbents.
Yeah, recumbent. Yeah. Thank you. That's the correct term.
And they're the worst to go up a hill.
Yeah,
they're
okay.
just like
That's what I was
super bummer.
That's what I was wondering, because I see people riding these things and I'm like, man, just thinking about the positioning, and I've sat in recumbent bikes at gyms before, like how would you ever get up a hill? Well, so the answer is it's rough.
The answer is electric.
So you're combining electric with recumbent.
Well, we combine electric with everything.
Okay.
We have electric road bikes, we have electric mountain bikes, we have electric recumbent bikes, cruiser bikes, whatever.
Now, are in the biking, because you're very much in biking culture, in the biking world, are these considered cheating or are they accepted now, like the e-bikes?
Well, that's a good question. So, but so think about the question: is it considered cheating? So there are so many different variables of human existence, and certain people who can't hardly even tie their shoes because they're out of shape.
That's a great point.
So if I go to a gym and all they have
impact issues,
if all they have is a chin-up bar, I'm screwed.
Right,
because I am not doing any chin-ups. It's not going to happen.
You and me both.
But if I have a little bit of assistance with that chin-up, now I can do all different styles. I can put my hands different places, and I can get all these different kinds of exercises because I have a little bit of assistance with that chin up. And so a bicycle is kind of the same way in that, if you just blast out and you got to climb all those hills, there's people, I can remember walking up a million hills when I was a little kid, because I couldn't hang. And then somebody taught me like how to kind of push through it and get past it and and then so there's that angle of it. There's the just don't give up.
Hold on.
Okay.
You said someone taught you how to push past it?
Yeah.
Is there a strategy with pushing past it?
Certainly.
Because I just go all out and
there's a strategy to riding a bike. So there's a thing called cadence, and there's a thing called sitting forward on the bicycle. So your geometry
getting your rear end off the seat.
You get up that hill rather than hindering you.
Okay.
So there's a lot of technique and a lot of things about riding a bicycle that will by knowing those techniques and by practicing those techniques, you're going to be a better rider. You're going to be better. But then there gets to a certain other point where it's like all those things are out the window because the person absolutely still is not in shape enough to deal, or is having some issues with other abilities.
Yeah, impact, mobility issues.
Yeah.
Sure,
so,
that makes sense.
So e-assist opens a lot of doors for people.
That's
interesting. And it really kills me. It's the funniest thing. Like all my granola burner friends that are just absolutely the most hippy dippy people, like their minds just shut down and collapse over the e-assist. They go, Satan has entered the building, and it's like, wow, dude, no, it's okay. It's really just about people like.
So you're telling me there is a purist culture?
Totally.
Any e-bike is not acceptable. Will you get made fun of if these people know you're an e-bike person secretly? Are they at the bar?
I'm out of the bag. Nobody cares about me.
I saw that guy come in with an e-bike. And they slide their beer down the bar.
Actually, I ride a little e-assist bike with some purists, some fast guys.
It's out there now.
They don't care. They love it.
Yeah.
They want to be inclusive. I mean, there's people that just don't care. Their egos aren't wrapped up into it.
Can we have, like, how high powered are some of these e-bikes? And is there any concern with like regulations, rules, or safety or laws on bike paths?
There's all kinds of concerns and regulations. While I was just on vacation in Amsterdam.
You have to flip your hair a little bit when you say that, by the way.
It was really amazing. And so I just want to tell people like what the bike paths are like in Amsterdam. And so if you go to, let's say, Adventureland, and you stand on that little bridge where they have all the bullheads in the water, and you take a handful of the fish food and you just drop a couple of pellets of fish food into the water, and in all these like bullheads just start going crazy. Like that's on any given day, that's what the bike paths look like in Amsterdam. There are that many bikes. It's just so insane. I mean, just absolutely an insane amount of bicycles. And not only are there bicycles riding on these paths, but there are mopeds riding on these paths.
Really?
All different kinds of vehicles constantly.
Sure.
And people absolutely, you hear all different kinds of things, like all my friends in Amsterdam most of my friends in Amsterdam are in the tattoo industry, and they're not necessarily in the bicycle industry, but they get a little bit annoyed by the e-assist things on the bike paths, and certainly people do here and there, but by and large, like it's just absolutely like pure anarchy in working order. Like people do not bug out. You don't hear people breaking down and having a conniption fit or freaking out at anybody.
Sure.
People are just going and they're blasting constantly. And the 99% of all bicycles on the bike path are bicycles with a coaster brake.
Wait, what? What's a coaster brake?
Coaster brake is when you pedal backwards to stop. Like
99% of bikes on the bike paths. Is this in Iowa or in Amsterdam?
In Amsterdam.
Are coaster brakes?
Yeah. Like that's like
Is it all pretty much flat in that city?
It's pretty flat in Amsterdam.
Okay.
But they have like little hills. You got to get up on a canal and you got to go over this.
Yeah, people are always like, because I know that everybody, and maybe we can get into this a little bit, but everybody's like talks about how biking to work, and I'm just like, that does sound really great, but in Iowa summers, who's biking to work? And are they coming to work totally drenched in sweat?
People who ride an e-assist bike. You can just totally ride an e-assist bike.
Yeah, but even with
covered with sweat.
Even with that,
but it's pretty mellow. You can figure out a cadence that's going to work for you, where you're not just killing yourself. And even if it is hot, you're going to sweat getting in and out of the car. You're going to. You get into the parking
that's a
lot.
fair point. I guess
wait till the thing cools down with the air conditioner.
That's a fair point.
Nobody pre-cools down their car.
Only those Tesla people do.
Right? Yeah. So so generally speaking, I don't think it's a big deal.
Interesting. Now, does the e-bike add weight?
Yeah, for sure.
So
but
it's
who
kind
cares? It's an e-bike.
Right. So if you want to get it's the kind of the trade-off. If
There's a lot of trade-offs. There's and then there's all different kinds of e-bikes made. There's e-bikes that are kind of like cadence orientated or maybe have a throttle, and it's not very particular about how much level of assist. They just kind of blast you. And then there are other e-bikes that are super sensitive. They only give you as much power as your foot is putting on the pedal. It measures all this stuff.
Oh, so it's almost like making you feel like Superman, like your actions are amplified, kind of. Interesting.
Yep.
I want to get into because a lot of the listeners, of course, on this show are from all corners of Iowa, not just Des Moines. And so where are kind of those hidden gem bike paths that you kind of go on throughout the state and you're like, this is it? Because again, that's another kind of bike culture thing that the average Iowan just doesn't really know where to start. So where are those kind of magical areas in your opinion?
Well, because I own 3 businesses, I own a tattoo shop and 2 bicycle shops now, and have a family, I don't get out a lot to get on the bike paths outside of Des Moines area. I've heard, Red Rock, I've heard White Rock Conservatory, I've heard all different kinds of places like that. I know that in, and I'm kind of a little bit of a mountain biker. I like to get out and do Sycamore trails and the trails at Greenwood Park. And so I've heard that Fort Dodge has some really cool things going on with mountain biking at this point. Yeah, Fort Dodge has some really good mountain biking up in that area. I know that Decorah has some really cool mountain biking up there as well. I wish I could speak more to this, but it's not my expertise. And so, but as far as the bike trails that are concerned in Des Moines area, I mean, they do go everywhere for the most part.
Yeah.
And the other thing that's really cool about if you want to ride a bike in Des Moines, Iowa, is that, it's almost like, I live in the Drake neighborhood, sort of like hugging up against the Beaverdale neighborhood. And at any time of the day, for the most part, most streets are like pretty vacant as far as cars are concerned. There's the main thoroughfares that if you just kind of try to stay off of those, you have most of the streets to yourself biking anyway. So, that's helpful. And then on top of that, the bike trails really, really do a good job of connecting all parts of the city.
Yeah, I know that the Metro Planning Organization, I think, had some like gyroscopic accelerometer bike where they were driving it over a bike pass and determining how bumpy things were. I have blown a few tires on some, when the seasons change and some of the concrete buckles and you get that kind of point. I've blown a couple tires on those things.
You need more air in your tires.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah,
more air?
Yeah.
Because most people would think soften them up, let the air out. But you're saying more air.
Well, I'm saying that if just riding over a bump is giving you a flat tire.
It was a pretty sharp bump.
To me, would say that there's the point is coming up into your tire and pinching your tube against your rim.
Sure.
That's what we call like a snake bite or something like that. And if you don't have enough air in the tires, that will happen. But generally speaking, if you have enough air in your tires, no bump, no thing like that is ever going to give you.
So I want to go back briefly because you mentioned mountain biking. Yeah. And usually when I think of mountain biking, I think of Colorado, right? I think of lots of hills and mountains. And so you're saying people in Fort Dodge and Decorah are doing mountain biking. I guess I've been to both. I guess Decorah, there is a lot of hills there, isn't there? I guess I didn't think about it.
They have to get the bluffs, and they have.
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
And it's not like it's not like mountain biking like you would think, like mountain, but mountain biking is a specific genre of biking, and no matter whether there's mountains or not, there is single track, and there is you're just going in and out of ravines and all kinds of different kind of man-made. Trails.
Yeah, absolutely.
But we have a real good crew of people. There's an organization called CETA, stands for Central Iowa Trail Association, that does just a really outstanding job of grooming our mountain bike trails and setting them up and planning them. And so I've heard that there's another place that they're doing, on the extreme east side Des Moines as well, where they're going to put some more trails out there.
Extreme east side?
Yeah, it's kind of
because I live on the east side of Des Moines.
You know,
oh, the extreme. Oh, yeah, like the east side wannabes.
Yeah, well, yeah. So it's going on everywhere. We got a lot of little woods. We got a lot of little pockets where it's like, wow, let's just go build more single track, and I'm all for it.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the other things that I think, like bike culture itself. So this is what I wanted to talk to you about. So when I'm driving at random, maybe I should like put a pin in these areas, I see like bars or I see locations that are just totally surrounded by bikes everywhere. So like, just give me a peek inside of bike culture. Why these locations? Are there groups that designate this is the bike hangout thing? Did these things organically happen? And maybe drop a couple names for some of the like cyclist bars or hotspots around the state that you know of.
Well,
and when am I supposed to show up? Is there like a time? Or
I guess any beautiful, nice, warm day, like is a good time. People love to drink beer and they love to ride bicycles. So,
which sounds crazy to me, by the way.
Yeah, well, there's one side of it, I guess, that the upside is that you're working hard and your body is pushing through and it's processing the alcohol.
I just feel like
more than if you're just sitting down. Yeah. It's not my thing. I don't drink, but that's okay. You know, it's still a very popular thing here in Iowa.
Yeah.
And at one time I did, and at one time I rode a lot of bikes and I drank. So I have empathy and I have I think that, you know, it's good if that's what you're into and you don't overdo it. Just remember, you know, just because you're not driving a car and you can't get an OWI, it probably isn't a good idea.
You can still smack your head and crack it wide open.
Yeah, you can still crash yourself and be bummed out.
So are these people, like, are they just basically, when the nice weather hits and there's a bar or a restaurant near a bike path, it just fills up and that's what I'm seeing?
Big Grove.
Yeah.
Over there on Ingersoll. I've seen that place.
And that's in Des Moines,
packed full of bicycles.
Interesting.
But pretty much anywhere where there's good food and there's good atmosphere and that kind of thing. Triangle Tap, the Cumming Tap out in the...
Yeah, what is up with the Cumming Tap?
Oh,
that is like the place.
Well, the guy who owns that, Bob.
No, weren't they going to close that or something?
I don't know.
And now
I don't keep my finger too much on the pulse of what's happening in the bar businesses these days, but it is an amazing place. I love to go out there. I love to ride that trail. And I love that little place. It's really cute, little like old school, like total old school little bar. You know, like a little Hams.
Yeah.
You know what? It's some kind of old school kind of deal. Like,
right.
It's not my shtick. If I go there, I get a bubbly water.
It's kind of
something like that.
I think I've seen like the Chicken down near Norwalk.
The Chicken is down.
There's a ton of bikers there.
There's a ton of bikers there because it's bike trails and it's food.
Oh,
and
right.
It's, you know, and people who are riding a bike,
have that nice trail.
They're little ovens that are burning up their calories, and they need to pull over and eat.
That's true. So RAGBRAI is back. They announced it. Are you super excited about RAGBRAI?
It's going to be cool. It's going to be really amazing this year. I just was talking to one of my bike vendors yesterday from Northern California, Marin Bicycles, actually. And the salesperson was telling me that her in-laws are packing up their van this summer and they're going to drive to Des Moines, or they're going to drive to Iowa, and like her father-in-law, her mother-in-law, and her brother-in-law are all going to do RAGBRAI from California.
Yeah, people are still coming from all over the country to do RAGBRAI.
All over the world.
Why is that?
Because it's an amazing ride. I mean, it's a...
But I mean, you can ride anywhere in the country, right?
Yeah, but you can't
Don't
ride
get me wrong, I like Iowa, but...
You can't ride with 10,000 people every single day.
It's just the mass of people we've attracted over time is why people are coming.
The mass of people, just the riding conditions in Iowa are just awesome anyway. I mean, it's kind of gnarly. It's kind of hot. It's kind of windy. It can be all of those things, but it can also just be so perfect and so beautiful.
Is that because Iowa is a little bit more flat than Colorado, than California? Is that maybe one of the advantages of RAGBRAI, that you don't need to be Lance Armstrong to traverse the entire state? Is that kind of one of the advantages?
I think so.
So, you know, you hear some people that people that complain about Iowa being flat have never obviously been in the northwest or northeast parts of the state. They are not flat at all.
Not flat at all, yeah.
But generally, the overall flatness of the state is kind of a good thing for RAGBRAI.
Absolutely.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Now, this is another thing where, like, do most RAGBRAI riders actually do the whole state, or do some of them just do segments?
You know, there's a lot of people that I met throughout the years who actually ride from another place. I know people who ride from Colorado to Iowa to ride RAGBRAI, and then they ride across the street going the other direction and then ride home.
That sounds awful to me. I love a good ride. That sounds terrible.
Yesterday, I look on Facebook and I see there's this guy named Cole who rode his bicycle from Kansas City to the Cumming Tap.
What?
Yeah, yesterday. He
how
woke
long
up
would
early
that take?
and he rode 200 miles. It took him 14 hours.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Some
totally
people
insane.
are crazy.
Yeah.
You bikers are nuts.
Some are.
That is crazy. Okay, so whenever I think of RAGBRAI, and maybe, I know, you know what? No, I'm not going to say maybe. I know there are people who think the same way. Whenever I think of RAGBRAI, all that time on the seat, I'm like, this is a major butthurt problem. Like every year I get back on my bike. I haven't biked in a few years. And there is that initial week where you're like, oh my gosh, I'm going to lose my butt. It's going to fall off. Am I doing something wrong? Do I need better pants? And I don't want to do the tight pants. That's not me. I don't want to do that. What am I supposed to do?
Hopefully, if you are making the commitment to ride on RAGBRAI, you have to do a lot of training and a lot of prep.
So this is a conditioning thing.
Oh, for sure. Okay. You know, I remember there's always a thing about riding RAGBRAI. If you're going to do RAGBRAI, please condition yourself to go and do that ride, because otherwise, you're in for a big
world of hurt.
Ouch. Yeah. So hopefully by the time you're doing RAGBRAI, you're settled into the bike enough to where, you're not going to cause yourself too much injury. I mean, and regardless, it's a big event. It's a big, it's a lot to bite off and chew. So, everybody gets a little saddle sore. Everybody gets a little this.
Saddle sore. I think I've heard that before.
Yeah. But hopefully you're conditioned enough to oh, okay, cool, I'm doing this.
So it is conditioning.
Yeah.
But if I was to go out and do a 1 mile run right now, right. I mean, I run a lot, but, if I was to do it completely unconditioned, barefoot, I'd probably have some pains.
Yeah.
But if I was to do it with some really nice running shoes, I would have less pains. So I am assuming there are things you can do to, what'd you call it? Saddle soreness? What? I just already forgot.
Saddle sore.
Yeah. I should have written that down. I'm going to write it down now, of course. So I'm assuming there are things I can do,
sure,
and Iowans can do to kind of alleviate that.
But I think that, nothing beats time. Nothing beats time in the saddle to deal with that kind
so no special seats?
Well, there you start getting into the whole Princess and the Pea kind of phenomenon.
Okay.
It's not soft enough. It's not soft enough. You got 6 couches and 3 double beds stacked up in your bike to try to absorb this thing, and it's still not enough. So
yeah.
At a certain point, you really just have to find a seat that you kind of like and just buckle down and put some time in it.
What about the pants, though? Like the padded pants? Does that help?
Padded pants. Now, back in my day, when I first started, there was, you wore bicycle pants that were made out of wool, and they had chamois sewn in the crotch. And so you had a chamois, little piece of leather and some padding sewn in between your wool shorts.
That actually sounds terrible.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't that bad because the wool wicks the moisture away from you and keeps your skin dry compared to, the Lycra is now the thing. Everybody uses Lycra, and they have all different kinds of shorts they have shorts with like that gel padding sewn in between the what would be the chamois.
Now you have gym short versions of those, right? Because I don't necessarily want my rear end sticking out.
Right. You don't want to
I'm not that kind of person.
You don't want to do the whole
I have nothing against people who want to wear those tight things into the bar, but that's
not your gig.
Yeah. I mean, I'm got a bigger backside than most, so
nothing to be ashamed of.
Yeah, so I can get like a gym short version.
Sure,
or do I just put gym shorts
or
over
you just
them?
A lot of people put wear the bike pants and then they just throw a pair of cutoffs or whatever.
Okay,
kind of thing over the top.
That's like a good little
cargo
hack.
pants or whatever.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Yeah.
Okay, so last few minutes here with you. Road rules. I want to go over this one. I think it's important.
Yeah.
I still see idiots that are like yelling at bikers saying, get on the sidewalk, which they're not, you're not legally allowed to do that, right? You're supposed to be on the road.
Well, you can ride on the sidewalk as long as you're going under 6 miles an hour. So
I didn't even know you were allowed to at all.
I think you can ride.
So it's
on
like
the
kids and people just trucking along slowly.
Yeah, sure. I mean, you don't want little children necessarily.
In the
They're just
street.
learning how to ride a bike in the street. Obey the rules, kid. You know,
Get on the road.
Yeah,
that's good.
So there's just kind of etiquette for all that stuff.
Right, right.
And most of it's just common sense.
Yeah, but in general, when you see someone on the road, they're supposed to be there.
Well,
if they're biking.
Yeah. So
leave them alone.
I mean, there were no bike lanes back when I rode bikes. I was a bike messenger in San Francisco.
Oh, really?
I didn't spend any time riding on any bike trails.
You also don't worry about any rules of the road when you're a bike messenger.
Well,
in
you're
San
not going to make
Francisco.
much money if you worry about all the rules of the road. It's like, you got tags, you got tickets, you got to.
You'll go over cars if you need to.
If you need to. I've seen people do it.
That's great.
I've done it. But it didn't end up helping me. Or
Last 30 seconds here. What are if you want to rattle through them, that's fine. But are there any bike pet peeves that people just need to get this stuff right? Drives you crazy?
I guess just have empathy for others and don't think just because somebody looks like they're necessarily perfectly healthy. You don't know. They might have 4th stage liver cancer and they want to just ride a goddamn e-bike. So shut up.
Shut up and leave them alone. Dan Koenig, Ichi Bikes is the name of the bike store. Real quickly, what's the new website? And then there's a new shop you have.
So there's a new shop. And I haven't put anything on the website about it yet. It is at 3705 6th Avenue in the lovely Highland Park neighborhood.
Yeah, that neighborhood's coming up big time.
It's cool.
Cool. And what website just for people to get your contact information?
Ichibike.com.
Really? Oh, that's nice. Ichibike.com. And that is ICHI, correct?
BIKE, number 1 in Japanese.
Awesome.
Ichi.
Dan Koenig, thank you so much for coming on the show. I know everyone appreciated it.
Thank you for having me.
And to my fellow Iowans, Iowa expats, and Iowans at heart, thanks for listening and subscribing to the Iowa Podcast.